Welcome, I'm Bob Nightingale, and I am sharing with you what I did to install OpenVMS on my Windows 11 computer. Um, Hopefully you'll find the information helpful. Okay, well, why do it? If you are wondering what is OpenVMS, this may not be the video for you, but for some of us old computer people, this was one of the platforms I learned how to program on, and some of my first jobs were using the VMS operating system. And I'll get to more detail on that in a minute. I want to go over what you need to do to get started, and I will go through each of these slides that are a set of screen captures. This is not a live video. You do not want to see a live video. It took me several times of recording, re-recording before I said the heck with it, and then I just took screenshots instead, and I'm putting them into a PowerPoint. And so you can back up and see what I did, and hopefully have a little easier time doing it than I did. And let's get started. Okay, so who am I and why am I doing this? I worked with VAX computers in the 1980s and early 1990s as a Fortran and Pascal programmer, and I also managed a Microvax 2 for one of my employers. I like old computers. I'm still working with computers today, mostly on the software side and less so on the hardware side. Part of my data analytics coursework, I'm working on my master's degree. I've come across some old Fortran code that was used for data modeling, and I'd like to see if I can type some of that in, and I'd like to do so as close to the original code as I can. And that for me was on some old VAX computers running Fortran 77. Now my wife is smarter than me when it comes to practical things, and we've got this condo we just bought, and she doesn't want me moving large old computers into it just to run some old software. I have worked with Linux and Unix computers for many years, and I don't think it's quite the same as running something on a VAX or a VAX Lite machine. So we're going, and you know, I have run Linux on PCs through Windows Subsystem for Linux, but I'm going to try something different here. And what's motivating me here is Windows computers are now cheap enough and capable enough compared to back in the day. So it's nice that VMS Software has ported this to the x86 platform, and so this is my chance to try it out. So I got the smallest computer, the cheapest computer I could find. This little Geekum Mini Air 11 has one CPU with 4 cores, 4 threads. It has 16 gigabytes of RAM. That's important to have enough memory when you're going to make a virtual box. You don't want it swapping out. We got about 475 gigabytes of storage. You get someplace to put a lot of programs. In contrast, when I used to manage a Microvax 2, I was supporting 20 users, and that machine had 9 megabytes of RAM, and it had, I'd say, less than a total of 1 gigabyte of disk. So, for what I need to do, this is plenty of machine. And it's inexpensive, only $250. I remember back in the day, just to replace a 200 megabyte disk pack would cost $1,000 each time that the heads would collide with a platter. So you need a Windows capable PC. The next thing you need to do is get a community license from VMS Software Incorporated. Get your VirtualBox software. I'll show you how to download that. And get Putty. Putty is the terminal emulator. It took me a couple tries until I figured out which one worked for me. So I've used Putty in other projects, again with Linux and Unix machines, so it should work just fine with the OpenVMS. Okay, here's some online resources. I'm going to paste these into the comment section for the video so that you can click on these and get these things quicker. A lot of this installation is based on the Ray.me.org set of steps. VMS Software, that's where you get your community license agreement. VirtualBox, that's where you download a copy of that software. Putty, I needed to do that because I could not sign in and change passwords with the Windows Telnet optional software that you can turn on with Windows 11 Pro. And how to set up Putty so you can change passwords with it. There was some discussion in the forums at the VMSsoftware.com website, and I had to go through several of the messages until I can find something that worked for me. Another reason why I want the Putty is the VT100 emulation. I want to do some editing directly with that emulation. So we'll see how all that goes. But today's goal is just to get the software installed. All right, once you go to the VMS Software site and apply for a community license, they're going to send you a license agreement, and that will include how to install the software. I give you a download link where you get to download the zip file that contains the VMDK files, and the VMDK file is a disk image that will be read by the VirtualBox software. So you read the instructions, and it says create a step 2 on the instructions says create a virtual machine. Well, great. If you've never done that before, it says KVM, VirtualBox, or VMware. And they say the free solution is VirtualBox, and free is good, provided that you can get it all to work. So this was my first try before I started looking at Ramey's instructions to get me through it. Okay, so you copy the files from the zip file into a new local folder. So I create the folder right off of the C drive. I call it OpenVMS. And then I take the 2 files that are inside the zip and place them into the directory. Okay, now I click on in the download directory for the VirtualBox, the file that you saw earlier, and say go ahead and say you allow this app to make changes to your device. Yes, I do. Okay, I'm going to install the VirtualBox. This is welcome to Oracle VM VirtualBox, and you click next. And here you take all the options, don't change anything here. And this is going to require 200 megabytes on your hard drive. That's fine. Like I said, if you bought the computer that I bought, you'll have plenty of space. Okay, warning, network interfaces. Yeah, big scary thing here. Fine. Yes, start installation now. Okay, now we're missing dependencies, the Python core Win32 API. Should I or should I not? Well, I don't need it yet. If I need it, I guess I'll go back and get it. So just click yes and continue. All right, I have all these things checked here. Sure, I can always delete an extra icon or whatever later. I'll just click next and keep going. All right, installation is complete. Woohoo! Okay, click finish. All right, let's create an OpenVMS virtual machine. So we're going to click the new icon. If you take a look at the row of icons, that is that little blue Sun Nova icon there. It says new. It's just the left of the add plus sign. Okay, let's name our virtual machine and operating system. I'm just going to put it into my my local account folder, and that's fine. I'll just leave it there. I'm going to type in and call it OpenVMS, and you see to the lower left corner here the options that I changed. So I'm going to name it OpenVMS. I'm going to go to type and change it to other, and the version is going to be other or unknown 64-bit. They give you other or unknown 64-bit. They give you other options such as some version of Windows or Linux. Just you want to go to the bottoms of the lists of different options. Okay, and then leave the other things default. No ISO image. Click next. All right, now the hardware. Here's where it gets important. The recommended size for this VirtualBox should be 6144 megabyte. That's why it's important to make sure that your machine has 16 gigabytes of space. 8 is okay, I guess, maybe, but with 16 you don't have to worry about any swapping. Just go ahead and get that. Second thing there where it says 2 CPUs, by what I've read in the forums, 2 to 4 CPUs should be fine to run this, but I didn't want to go beyond that because the Geekum computer only has 1 CPU and it's 4 cores, 4 threads. So I'm going to start with 2 CPUs, see how that works. Maybe later on I could add more, but I didn't want to stress it. And then I clicked to enable EFI. And some of the other instructions I've read on the forums, you could set some of these later. I thought that go ahead and just set it early in the process and click next. Virtual hard disk. Right now we're not doing that. We're going to add that later. First, we just want to focus on getting the virtual machine up, and then once you get a few screens later, we'll go ahead and point it to the community package file. So just say do not add a hard disk. Okay, so here we have it summarized. We got where we're going to put it. No ISO image, guest OS type, and so on. Click finish. Okay, big scary warning. You're about to create a new virtual machine without a hard disk. Yeah, I know. You'll not be able to install an operating system until you add one. Yeah, I know. In the meantime, you'll only be able to start the machine using a virtual optical disk or from the network. Okay, thanks for letting me know. Click continue. So now we have the VM is created, and here are all the options. So now let's click on the settings and then system. So unset the floppy and the optical drives. We're only going to boot from a hard drive, or hard disk rather. Set the chipset to AHCI. I'll leave the mouse where it is. Base memory is already there. We set that earlier to 6144 megabytes. If you didn't do that, this is your last chance. Pointing device, yeah, we're not going to use a mouse initially, but yeah, just leave it. Enable EFI, we've set that earlier. So if your screen looks like this, click OK. System, check the 2 or more processors are set. Okay, you shouldn't have to touch anything else. Here you add an AHCI controller. Ignore the IDE controller. We're not going to use that right now. Okay, so there are 2 icons on the line with the controller AHCI. You want to click the second plus icon to create a hard disk. So then you click the add button here on this panel that pops up. And now it's going to ask you, okay, you're going to add a hard disk. What file are you going to use for that? So here you have the community VMDK that you downloaded, and highlight the VMDK file of community. It's only 1 kilobyte, and it points to the 5 gigabyte file next to it. So just click on community and it'll just do that repointing to the flat file. So there you go. You need a serial port to log into the virtual machine. We're going to do everything with text terminal. So what you do is you pick the COM1 port, set it to TCP as your port mode. We're going to connect with TCP/IP, not a serial connection. and you want to pick a path or address that you can remember. So I'm going to type in 1023, put it a little bit higher out of the range of a normal telnet. We're not going to do SSH, we're just going to do old-fashioned telnet here, and click OK. Okay, so let's start our virtual machine. We're going to click on the last icon there along the top, the green arrow with the start. And we're going to start OpenVMS, and we get our security prompt from Windows Security. Do you want to allow public and private networks to access this app? Of course we do. So click Allow. And if all goes well, you will get this pop-up screen. And what you're going to see is some colorful prompts, and you're going to get a prompt there for the boot manager. In there, you type in boot, B-O-O-T, space, and then DKA0, and then hit the enter key, and that will boot your OpenVMS machine. And once you are, if it all goes well, you get this screen here, and that's it. You have a running OpenVMS machine. Now, if you want to close it, you click on the file drop down, and you can power off the machine at this point if you want to. Or you may want to save the machine state, and then when you bring it back, you'll have the machine exactly where you left it. Okay, I'm just going to show you that now. If this is enough for today, and I went through these steps kind of quickly. It took me a lot longer. That's why I'm doing this as screen captures, so you don't see the hours I had of going backwards and forth. So yeah, here we are. So take a break, now come back and do the rest of it. Okay, glad you're back. Okay, so before, when you downloaded those files in your download directory, one of those was the Putty, your telnet client. So go ahead and double click on that and start the Windows installation of it. And just a little side thing here, I understand that Windows comes with a telnet client. It's an optional install. I tried that first. I got pretty far with it. The problem was that when you're trying to set passwords, an OpenVMS, it likes certain terminals better than others. And after hitting my head against the wall for a bit, I decided to go with Putty instead. So yeah, if you want to spend a lot of time trying to perfect how to do that, my hat's off to you, go for it. But let's just go ahead with the Putty here. So you install Putty by clicking on the MSI file directly from the downloads directory. Don't have to read me. Don't read the README file. It's a README file. It's like all README files. Next, click finish. Now once it's installed, you have to find the file. You have to go through Windows Explorer, through the Start menu, go to P, and it's under Putty 64-bit. I think if you install the 64-bit, you should install the 64-bit. Why not? And then it's Putty there. And so you can find it quicker next time, I recommend you right-click on it and pin it to the start so it can be one of your icons in the it's much easier than trying to go through. Windows 11 does I don't know why they like to hide stuff there in their all apps menu. So just anything you use often enough, just pin it to start. Okay, so you clicked open Putty, and here you need to set up your connection. What you should do is under Save Sessions, type in OpenVMS, and then choose your internet address 127.0.0.1. Set the port to 1023 is what we did before. And then what we want to do is connection type is telnet. And click to save again. Once you've saved your OpenVMS profile, then you click on the Terminal tab. Make sure that implicit carriage return in every line feed and implicit line feed in every carriage return options are unset. Force off local echo and local line editing. And then let's go to the Keyboard tab. In the Keyboard tab, you want to select VT100 Plus. At least I would do, because I want to use the EDT editor to edit my my programs, and I need to use the function keys. Also, using that option gets around an inconvenience with using the set password command. So that's what I'm going to use here. I may change this later for applications later, but this got me through at least changing my password. So once you've done that, go back to the Sessions tab and click Save, and then you are ready to open your Putty session. If all goes well, you'll get a screen like this with a welcome message and a prompt for your username. The initial username will be system, and your initial password is alphabets with 6 zeros. Once you've signed in, you can issue the command set password, or just simply set pass, as VMS commands can be shortened. And here you're in a good spot. Once you've signed in, the screen automatically clears, and you'll be ready to go. Once you've gotten your $ prompt, you can start issuing commands. And so you can do things like show system, show term, show processes, dir for directory, and you'll get a screen kind of like this. Once you're done with your session, you can use the log command to log out. So what's next? It looks like the license keys that I'm going to need are already included with this community package. I see Fortran and Pascal are sitting there. So I may not need to add any more license keys, and that is fine by me. So the show license command gives you that. Next, I'm going to have to create an application user. I'm going to look up how to do that. It's been a very long time. I do remember there's scripts in one of the system directories that can prompt me for all that. So I may make a video on that too. Well, I hope you found this video informative. I'm feeling pretty good having an operating system come up on a computer I haven't really touched in over 30 years, and hopefully I can start writing some programs in some languages I also haven't touched in many, many years. So if you want to get in contact with me, below are my Facebook and YouTube channels, and that's also my email address. Thank you.